Every once in a while, I'll get a mean comment. I know people are shocked sometimes in response to my videos. I get a little, some people get a little emotional and might lash out at me and say some mean things. So I do have 3 comments. I don't know that they're all mean. We have one nice comment that I wanted to say thank you for. And here with me to talk about some of these mean comments is my good friend Aaron Sparrow, comic book writer, editor, season 4 writer for Young Justice on HBO Max. What's up, Aaron?
Wes, you're telling me that somebody has said something mean on the internet? What?
Sometimes they lash out at me. I don't know. I bring out the worst in certain people. I think for the most part, a vast, overwhelming majority of the comments are very positive, and if they're not positive, they're very constructive. But every once in a while, people like to take some shots at me or whatever. So I thought we'd look at a few of them and I don't know, have a little rebuttal on them.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have some fun.
So here's the first one. This was pretty short and sweet. How can a grown man be so upset about comic books? LOL, go outside, brother. I don't get this one, Aaron, because I literally have a comic book YouTube channel. I talk about comic books, and for a minimum of twice a day here on the channel, the amount of research and preparation, and then you have to post, edit, and everything. I spend literally hours of my day every single day putting together content about comic books. I take comic books very seriously. I don't understand how that's a negative, Aaron. Of course,
well, this is kind of the problem within the industry itself, is that the people that are creating the books, the people that are in charge of the books, they don't take the comic books seriously. So, you're left with a fandom who used to take this used to take these things very seriously. Many of us still do. The problem is we're no longer being served by creators who do the same. And that's really the problem. It's not like you don't have other things in your life. You've got a wife, you've got kids, you've got all kinds of other things, other hobbies and whatnot. But this is a hobby that's important to you. It was something that you loved growing up, and it's a medium that you and I both agree that this is the best storytelling medium in the world. It's the best way to tell stories and to get ideas out there. And that's why Hollywood's currently strip mining comic books, is because it's the last place that has any ideas. So these things are important.
They are important. And a lot of special moments in my life have happened with comic books being involved. Some of my favorite memories that I have, obviously, they're still pretty new memories. My oldest son is only 6, but him sitting on my lap and reading Strange Academy and some other comic books. He really likes Spider-Man. Comic books are important to me. They're a huge part of my life, and I do take them really seriously. And when I see things going south and I see things that are clearly broken, anyone who's a professional should take this more seriously than I do. Of course, I'm going to get a little bit upset, but I always feel like that's a weird criticism I get. It's like, you care about comic books too much. Can I care about comic books too much? I mean, it's a huge part of my life.
Somebody needs to.
Somebody needs to care about these comic books. Go to hell in a handbasket.
Here's the thing. It's like you can look at comic books and you can say, well, in the grand scheme of things, they're not that important. And maybe that's true. But the fact of the matter is, I can tell you as a comic book creator, it's really humbling. Every once in a while, you'll be at a table and you'll be signing, and someone will come up to you and they will tell you how your book affected their life. Not necessarily that you wrote something that was linked to what they were going through or things like that, but they were going through a rough time in their life, whatever it was, and something that you created brought them joy at a dark time in their life. So comics are important. Entertainment is important. Escapism is important. These things are valuable, and we need to protect them. So we should be taking them seriously.
Yeah, perfect example. I had Robert Venditti on my channel recently. I got to tell him how I connected with X-O Manowar. It's a very personal story, and I was glad I got to share it with him. And he knew that he got to touch somebody's life with the story that I thought was absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to have to accept that one. Yes, I do take comic books seriously. Sometimes I get too upset. For the most part, I think I'm just the right amount of upset. Here's the next criticism I got. This one I think is more interesting, Aaron. You should have been fighting for these characters when EVS and your boy Zach first started their Comicsgate BS. Instead of trying to save the industry, most of y'all went to Indiegogo and overpaid for shitty books. Now Marvel and DC are drowning and only shutting down for a few years to save either company. I think I started fighting as soon as I could, Aaron.
That's such a weird comment. I don't even know how to parse that. There's so many things like going on in that comment, telling you what you should have done. Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask the commenter this: what's their YouTube channel? When did they start fighting?
Yeah, what
Did they not
what
have
you
one?
done?
Yeah.
And this whole you went to Indiegogo and paid for shitty books, overpaid for shitty books. I've supported some Indiegogo campaigns. You know, being overseas, it is overwhelmingly expensive, Eric.
Mhm.
So, you know, I don't get to support as many as I would like to, but I don't mind going out there and supporting independent comic creators. And if they produce a good product, certainly don't mind coming back and supporting them again. And I like to be able to, you know, come here on the channel and let people know that there's things out there that I think are high quality and worth their time and money. But I certainly haven't wasted too much money on Indiegogo.
I would say out of the 30 to 50 Indiegogo or Kickstarter projects that I've backed, you know, from independent creators, I've maybe only been super disappointed in 2 or 3.
I remember there was a creator. He's actually going to be on a DC project, Aquaman and Flash, Vasco Gorgiev. I remember back in his Kickstarter campaign, you know, he's in Europe, so it wasn't as outrageous because the shipping from Europe to Asia isn't nearly as much as from the US. And I love seeing that I was able to support his career earlier on. You know, that was his dream to become a comic book creator and draw comics for Marvel and DC. And now he's finally at DC. I think it's awesome getting to see him, you know, kind of take his career that way. I like
Yeah, a couple of years ago at Dragon Con, a creator came up to me after a panel and wanted to talk to me. You know, he wanted to start his own comic book, and he was asking me for advice. And so I, you know, sat down and I talked to him for a little while. And you know, you have a lot of conversations like that. So I kind of, yeah, I remembered the conversation, but I didn't remember exactly who it was with. And then a couple of years later, I get this message on Twitter, and it's from the guy that I talked to, Ryan Hack, and he's starting his own, you know, book, which is like a Christmas themed book called Bric-a-Brac. And you know, he went out, he completed it, and he was about to launch it, and was asking my opinion on it, and I backed it, and I freaking love that book. He's got like 2 volumes out now, I think, and I've got both of them, and thought it was really good. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with going and supporting, you know, overpriced Indiegogo projects.
No, especially if you say that you don't like what modern comics are producing and someone's producing an alternative, and if it's a little bit more, you know, because they're having to self-publish, I say go support it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, and why am I gonna just keep pouring money into Marvel and DC? There's this idea that I should just be continually pouring money into Marvel and DC, you know, so that they don't go under. Well, it's not my fault they're going under. It's their fault that they're not producing things that appeal to me and the rest of the audience. I'm not gonna support that.
Indiegogo and Kickstarter to me are a godsend, and Iconic Comics, obviously they have a little bit of a different distribution model. I like that everyone's going out there and doing these neat things, and I like supporting what people are doing, especially when they're really high quality and they deserve a seat at the table. So hey, I didn't start my YouTube channel as early as EVS and your boy Zach, but I started my channel as soon as I could, and I've certainly been going out there and putting a spotlight in what I think are some of the issues from within the industry, and when I think characters are being mistreated and creators aren't doing the right thing. I put a spotlight on it the best that I can.
And you know what, Wes? It's my fault too, because I didn't come on to your channel immediately when you started it either. So
you didn't boost me early enough, Aaron. I should be better. But you know, EVS and your boy Zach, they went out there and built really influential comic book YouTube channels. It's a lot of hard work, and I say congratulations to them. I guess we're all, you know, kind of behind them trying to catch up.
Well, you know what? Someone is in their comments right now, you know, it's saying that they didn't start their channels as early as you know, Engeltine and Mim Headroom and, you know, the other guys.
I forgot about Mid Headroom. We haven't seen him in like 3 years.
No, I think he went off and got himself a good career. It was like, I don't have time for YouTube anymore.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Well, congratulations to him, but it's disappointing he doesn't have his channel anymore. Here's the last one, and I think this one's, they're trying to take the piss out of me with this one, Aaron. If you're turning to fictional characters for role models, then your life is a pretty sad affair. Seriously, honestly, some comics fans are really easily threatened by change, by modernity, by the complexity of being human, and by any attempt to diversify fiction or portray men in any way that's not rooted in an overemphasis on strength. It's sad, really. Well, you're saying a lot of sad there. As far as my life being a sad affair, I hate to break it to you, my life's pretty awesome. I don't know if everyone knows this. I actually retired at the age of 39. I don't have to work anymore. This channel is you know, something I really enjoy doing, but I don't have to do this. I do appreciate that I'm able to make some money off and stuff with a hobby that I really love and enjoy. But I'm actually retired at the age of 39. I have 3 boys. 6, 2, and 8 months old. I have a beautiful wife. I'm a stay-at-home dad. This is what like my life's dream. So I hate to break it to you, for all the people out there that are going, that Wes's life is so sad. It's actually not. It's actually quite wonderful.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with turning fictional characters as role models, considering that there are so few real life role models, especially now. I think that as a kid growing up, I certainly didn't have any good role models until my stepdad came along, and that was a fluke because my mom chose him by accident, because before that she was shacked up with a drug dealer. So my role models were characters like Captain America, Green Lantern. That's where I learned what the virtues of humanity were from these morality tales. And there's been morality tales all throughout human history that have kind of shown what virtue is meant to be. So the idea that you can't get that from fiction is, I think, first of all, a ridiculous notion that we need to immediately dismiss.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that bothers me, Aaron, is, my boys are young, and I definitely want to be a role model. I want them to look up to me, but I want to be able to present them with entertainment and things that they can read into, and give them things to aspire to that are even greater than myself. Superman is a character that does that. Captain America is a character that does that. And I don't mind sitting here if you want to tell me my life's a sad affair and I haven't grown up, because I want these fictional characters that serve as great role models for young boys and men to remain in there. Then I guess I'm guilty as charged, because I think that they're very important. I think it's vastly underappreciated what these comic book characters and these stories bring to young boys.
If these characters didn't influence the morality of the readers, then these cultural vandals wouldn't be trying to co-opt them so hard and turn them into these, basically turn them into self-inserts or these, kind of like more Marxist idealized characters, that we're seeing going on in the industry right now. These are cultural icons. They are moral icons. And these people know that, and that's why they have to be captured and subverted. That's why you're seeing, for all the modernity, that's what you're seeing is you're seeing values, or the lack of values of today, being infused into these characters so that they can subvert the readership and bring them into line with their way of thinking. It's unfortunate. And the really scary part about it, I think, is that it's killing an industry, but somehow the dropping sales and things like that are less important than the message. And a business can't survive that way, but for some reason they don't seem to be able to course correct. And it's because of the people that they have in these leadership positions that don't possess any knowledge of what heroism or sacrifice or what the tropes of these stories should be.
And I think this last comment about the portrayal of men rooted in an overemphasis on strength. I don't think you can have an overemphasis on strength, especially as far as character, but also, physically strong. I've been in the military. I hope everyone enjoys their freedom, especially, if you're in the West. That stuff's not free. Somebody's got to go out there and sacrifice, and it sure as hell isn't going to be the person that wrote that comment. So yeah, we do need our young men and boys to grow up with strong male role models with an emphasis on strength, because if there's no one there to protect the gates, then they're gonna be pushed right over, and you're gonna be in very bad straits. Let's put it that way. So there's nothing wrong with having strong men. In fact, we need strong men. We need more strong men pretty much across the world right now.
I made reference to my stepdad not long ago. If my mom hadn't somehow stumbled across my stepdad, and he hadn't decided that my brother and I needed a strong role model, I'm pretty sure that we'd both be criminals by now. We were definitely wild, feral kids because of the lack of care that we were given, the lack of instruction, the lack of any kind of structure within our childhoods. Just based on what my mom was doing. And so it took him coming in and having the patience to work with us and not murder us in our sleep. Because I tell my stepdad all the time, I can't believe that he didn't kill me when I was a teenager. And he was like, oh, don't think I didn't come close a couple times. But if not for his strength and him showing me how a man should act and the things that the values that a man should hold and the way that a man should treat other people. One of the things that my dad always said is the mark of your character is how you treat people who could do nothing for you. And he used to drill that into us. And it's something that I think about all the time when I interact with people and just trying to be kind and compassionate with other human beings. And I wouldn't have that if not for my dad. So yeah, strong male role models are definitely important for young boys.
Yeah, it's this weird phenomenon that's going across kind of the West. It's kind of seeping in here too, where nobody wants a strong man until they need him, right? Everyone's supposed to be a pussy until shit hits the fan, and then time to go jump in there. Well, if you don't have strong male role models, if you don't have an emphasis on the core values on who you want to be, there's going to be no one in there to step up. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. So, hey, if I'm a loser, if you think my life's a sad affair because I think Superman should be preserved, it is a great role model for young boys and men. And I guess I am. This last comment is a little bit more positive. I did do a video yesterday. It was on my birthday. I actually released it the day after my birthday. And because the Batman news came out at the very end of the day before. But I talked about some of the addiction problems that my mom had and the fact that I lost her early in life. I got a lot of very kind messages. This is just one that I chose. It said, "Thank you for sharing your story with us, Wes. My mother also had addiction problems. Love the channel." Well, I'm glad that I was able to share that with the viewers. I don't get to share everything I would like to. I would like to show some pictures of my kids and stuff and the things that we get to do, but there are too many crazy people out there. But I decided, that was a good moment to kind of talk about some of the stuff that happened in my life. Aaron and I do have some similar stories. Every once in a while off camera, we'll start swapping mom stories, and it's a sad affair, but I do appreciate I was able to share those stories.
And if they help somebody else, that's really the most important thing about sharing them is, when someone else can take something from it. So I think that that's a really nice compliment. I'm glad that somebody like that resonated with them.
Yeah, I definitely got a lot of very nice comments. A lot of very just great viewers. Like I said at the beginning, for the most part, a mass majority of the comments and the viewers on the channel are absolutely amazing. I definitely had the best, viewership within YouTube, bar none, in my opinion. So I definitely appreciate the outpouring of support that I got for that video yesterday. And I definitely want to say thank you very much to Aaron Sparrow. I know you shared a little bit here today with me. Talk about some of the mean things people say to me. I think am I a loser? Is that what it is? I care about comic books too much.
That's right. You care about. Well, my question is, if you care about comic books too much, why is that person on your channel? Like, why are they here? If they don't care about comic books, why are they watching comic book YouTube channels and leaving comments?
Who goes to a YouTube channel and then when they're watching, they're like, "This guy cares so much, it's off-putting."
I'm trying to think of something that I don't care about that I've gone and watched. I was
looking for someone that is a little bit more laissez-faire about comic books. This guy's really into it. He really has some strong opinions.
I was really looking for somebody who's kind of like, I can take him or leave him. I got a whole channel dedicated to something I barely care about.
20-minute video on something he didn't really care about. Guilty as charged, I guess.
I guess so.
As I mentioned in the video, I did kind of talk about some of the addiction issues that my mom had and how they affected me in my life. It was in this Tony Stark video where he's going back to rehab. If you want to hear about that and also hear about my thoughts on the Tony Stark situation that they're doing within the comic books, definitely check out this video. And I hope you learn a little bit more about me that maybe will answer some questions.